Hello there, a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. As always, this morning too, we've got you covered on the details of the top stories from here at home and around the world. Do stay tuned with us for the news in detail. With that, let's move on to the top local news item this morning. The Ministry of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government has informed all ministry secretaries and department heads to provide increased salaries to government employees tomorrow. This instruction was given through the issuance of a circular. S. Aloka Bandara, the Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government, said that if the salary increment cannot be provided on that day, the increased salary must be provided to employees before the 25th of April. Meanwhile, former State Minister Sivanesa Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan has been arrested. The Criminal Investigation Department said that the arrest was made last night in the Batticaloa town. The former Member of Parliament was arrested in connection with an investigation conducted by the CID regarding the abduction and enforced disappearance of an individual. Let's move on to some election-related updates now. The National Election Commission has requested all government officials to take necessary steps regarding the misuse of state property in connection with the upcoming local government elections. Chairman of the National Election Commission, RMA Ratnayaka, said that ministry secretaries and heads of government institutions were informed in this regard yesterday. He also stated that the guidelines for preventing the misuse of state property have already been published through a Gazette notification. Meanwhile, the printing of official polling cards has by now been completed. Chairman of the National Election Commission, RMA Ratnayaka, said that these polling cards will be handed over to Sri Lanka Post on the 16th of April. Now, the distribution of the official polling cards is scheduled to take place up until the 29th of April. The upcoming Sundays, the 20th and 27th of April, have been designated as days for the distribution of these official polling cards for the upcoming local government election. And in more local news, a circular has been issued regarding the establishment of public security commissions across the island. This was done by Acting Inspector General of Police, Attorney at Law Priyantha Veerasurya. Under this initiative, 14,022 public security committees are scheduled to be established, covering every single Grama Niladhari division in the country. The police expect to achieve several objectives by establishing these committees, including the strengthening of police public relations and maintaining peace, suppressing crime and drug menace, as well as ensuring religious harmony in the areas. A police officer will also be appointed for this purpose. Retired government officials, retired police and tri-forces officers, as well as youth, will be appointed as members of these public security committees, and their term of office will be 3 years. The progress of the public security committees must be reviewed monthly by the officer in charge of the relevant police station, and these committees are scheduled to be reviewed every 2 months by the Assistant Superintendent of Police in charge of the respective districts. This morning, we have a couple of news items on some accidents that took place in several parts of the island. Let's start off with one now. A police officer has died and two others were injured after being hit by a van near the Kadigava junction in Rasnayakapura, Nikavaratne. Police said that the accident occurred last night at a location where a temporary police roadblock had been set up. A speeding van hit two police officers and another person at the roadblock, then collided with an electricity pole. They were admitted to the Nikavaratne hospital with serious injuries, and a police officer later succumbed to his injuries. The deceased was a 37-year-old police officer attached to the Rasnayakapura police and a resident of Munnakulama. It had been revealed that the van driver, who has by now been arrested, was under the influence of alcohol at the time of the accident. Meanwhile, 12 people were injured in an accident involving a lorry, a three-wheeler and pedestrians on the Kandy-Peradeniya road. Police say that they have now been hospitalized. With that, let's move on to your weather news update this morning. Issuing advisory for heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas, the Met Department says that the low-pressure area in the southwest Bay of Bengal is likely to move north-northwestwards during the next 24 hours. Temporarily strong winds of 60 kilometers per hour with heavy rainfall and rough seas are likely over the above sea areas. The fishing and naval communities are requested to be attentive to future forecasts issued by the Department of Meteorology in this regard. Meanwhile, showers or thunder showers will occur at some places in the southern province. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places in the other areas over the island during the afternoon or night. Showers may occur in the coastal areas of the western province and in the Putlam district during the morning hours as well. Fairly heavy rainfall of about 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the Sabaragamuwa, southern, central, Uva and eastern provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamuwa, central, Uva and eastern provinces during the morning hours. And as always, the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Also, on the apparent northward relative motion of the sun, it is going to be directly over the latitudes of Sri Lanka during the 5th to the 14th of April this year. The nearest areas of Sri Lanka over which the sun will be overhead today, that is the 9th, are Uyangalla, Arangala, Kongahavila, Moragahakanda and Batiklo at about 12 noon. With that, let's move on to news overseas for this morning. Our first news item concerns the latest reciprocal tariffs that were imposed on China. By now, it has amounted to 104%. The United States said on Tuesday that 104% duties on imports from China will take effect shortly after midnight, even as the Trump administration moved quickly to start talks with other trading partners targeted by President Trump's sweeping tariff plan. U.S. stocks dropped on Tuesday for a fourth straight trading day since Trump's tariffs announcement last week, with the S&P 500 closing below 5,000 for the first time in almost a year. The index is now 18.9% below the most recent high on the 19th of February, close to the 20% decline that defines a bear market. The S&P 500 companies have lost $5.8 trillion in stock market value since Trump's tariff announcement last Wednesday, the deepest four-day loss since the benchmark was created in the 1950s, according to LSEG data. Now, global markets had previously posted gains on hopes that Trump might be willing to negotiate down the array of country and product-specific trade barriers he is erecting around the world's largest consumer market. The administration has scheduled talks with South Korea and Japan, two closest allies and major trading partners, and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is due to visit next week. On to more news overseas now. President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Tuesday that Ukrainian forces had captured two Chinese men fighting for Russia in eastern Ukraine, potentially threatening a fragile peace effort in the three-year-old war. Beijing is a close diplomatic ally of Moscow, but is not publicly known to have directly aided in the Kremlin's full-scale invasion, which US President Donald Trump is seeking to swiftly end. Writing on X, where he posted a video of one of the alleged men, Zelensky said Kyiv has information suggesting that there are many more Chinese citizens fighting. He did not say whether Ukraine believed the men were acting on Beijing's orders. The Chinese Foreign Ministry did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment on what would be the first publicly announced case of Chinese nationals captured fighting for Russia in Ukraine. Reuters could not also independently verify these claims. Writing on social media, Andriy Kovalenko, a member of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, called the captured fighters mercenaries but offered no other details. Russia had used Iranian drones as well as North Korean missiles and artillery shells since its February 2022 invasion. Kyiv also says Pyongyang's troops have been deployed to fight Ukrainian forces in parts of Russia's western Kursk region, where Ukraine staged a lightning incursion last summer.
Китайці воюють на території України. І я думаю, що це важливий момент, який нам треба обговорювати з партнерами. Думаю, терміново. Я розумію, що ми сильна країна, але ми не можемо воювати одночасно з багатьма країнами, яким всім щось потрібно на нашій землі. Дуже розраховуємо, що після цієї ситуації американці будуть говорити більше з українцями, а потім з русскими. Ну і дуже надіємо, що китайська сторона також відреагує. В принципі, я доручив міністру закордонних справ зв'язатись і міністру оборони зв'язатись з китайськими контрпартнерами, щоб вони дали нам пояснення відповідних дій.
Let's move on to sports news for this morning. The Lucknow Super Giants secured a narrow 4-run victory over the Kolkata Knight Riders in the 21st IPL match held at Eden Gardens in Kolkata. Batting first, Lucknow's innings were anchored by a solid opening stand of 99 runs between Aidan Markram and Mitchell Marsh. Markram contributed 47 runs, while Marsh scored 81 of 48 deliveries, which included 6 sixers and 5 fours. Nicholas Pooran further accelerated the innings with an unbeaten 87 of just 36 balls, featuring 8 sixes and 7 boundaries. At the end of their 20 overs, the Super Giants posted a commanding total of 238 for the loss of just 3 wickets, the second highest team total in the history of the tournament. In response, Kolkata Knight Riders lost opener Quinton de Kock for 15. However, skipper Ajinkya Rahane led the chase with a valiant 61 of 35 deliveries, including 8 boundaries and 2 sixes. Venkatesh Iyer added a useful 45 runs, but despite their efforts, KKR fell just short, managing 234 for 7 at the end of their innings. Lucknow Super Giants held their nerve in a high-scoring thriller to emerge victorious by 4 runs.
Strike 3-4 for 7. It's a win by 4 runs, just one shot.
Well, that's a wrap of this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. Thank you for joining us and take care. Have a wonderful day ahead.